Hello and welcome to Talk to P. I'm sorry I've been away for a while. Haven't managed to be consistent for the last few couple of weeks, but I'm here bigger and better, so let's roll this.
Welcome to Talk to P.
All right, so in this episode, Talk to P will be giving its a tribute to the people and families of those who were affected by the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. In our 29th commemoration this year, this is Talk to P's tribute to everybody who was affected in one way or another by the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Did you know that the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi happened just 4 days after Easter Sunday? Yes, the week before the massacre began was the Easter Sunday, was the Easter holiday. This year, 29 years after, the commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi coincidentally started the same day we began as Easter celebrations. Now, as a Rwandan Christian, this year was quite a dilemma. I could not see how I would sing and chant, "He is risen, He defeated death," and all these jubilant songs we sing on Easter, while at the same time commemorating the lives of more than 1 million Rwandans who died 29 years ago. The Easter story is a victorious one, which shows how Jesus died and after 3 days resurrected, defeating the devil and bringing salvation to all humankind. The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi story is a tragic one, where God left Rwanda for not just 3, but 100 days. There is a common saying in Rwanda that God spends his days elsewhere and then returns to Rwanda to spend his nights there. But there's one female genocide survivor who once asked, where was God in those 100 horrible nights? Where did God spend his time? I think I know where God was. I really think I do. But if I tell you what I think or where I think God was, hear me out. I'm not a very big fan of superhero movies, but there's one thing I love about them. There's one big theme and message that they convey more than anybody else. And that is the message of good wins over evil. In most superhero stories, the superhero has incredible disadvantages, big disadvantages. Disadvantages in size, in power, and even in chance sometimes compared to the villain. And the villain is always some gigantic monster that seems to be undefeated. But over and over again in every superhero movie that at least I've heard of or had the patience to finish, it shows that the superhero wins, not just because of his strength or superpower, but because of what he stands and fights for. Superhero movies show you clearly that once you stand for the right reasons and fight for the right cause, you always win. And that's the same story with God. The Goliath-David story. Once you fight for the right thing, once you stand for the right thing, God is always with you. And when God is always with you, you always win. So, back to the place I think God was. I think God was with the much inferior, less equipped, and by all means smaller RPF. If not so, then how do you explain a small force like the RPF back then defeating a well-equipped army, a government, a militia, and most of all, a contaminated population. Contaminated not by just the blood on the streets, but by the big, bankrupt, genocidal ideology. So, this year, as I was going through the Easter season and commemorating the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, I found a link between these two stories. And this is the link. The link is the God that resurrected more than 2,000 years ago, after 3 days, did return to Rwanda after 100 horrible nights. And he returned with the RPF. And I am comforted and assured that just like Jesus will not die again, God will not leave Rwanda again. Never again. Now, that solves my dilemma. That wipes away my tears. And I hope it does to each and every one of you.